Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chatting with the Experts TV show and podcast, where I speak with fantastic women from Africa, from the Caribbean, and in the diaspora. These women are professional and they are successful entrepreneurs, and they share my mission, which is to educate, empower, and inspire women globally. I sometimes have some men join me, but 99.9% of the time, it's women. Today, our title is Leaving a Legacy of Love. Estate planning, every woman needs to know about. Needs to know about is my emphasis because, well, you'll find out why. And my guest who will be joining me soon says, if you don't have a plan, the state will have one for you. I'll tell you a bit about her. She is the CEO and managing attorney of IvyLaw Law Office in Greenbelt, Maryland. Her law practice focuses on estate planning and U.S. immigration law. For estate planning, which includes creating wills, living trusts, and power of attorney, she focuses on helping family accomplish a healthy transition of their family wealth to their loved ones by providing legal guidance regarding their family assets and business. She also ensures that her clients minimize the cost and hassle of probate, protecting them from losing their assets to the government and preserving them for their loved ones. Oh my gosh, there's so much I can say about her. But one thing I must share with you is that the outcome of this planning is the peace of mind that comes with planning, knowing that they have something right to protect their families and assets from the high cost of litigation and conflicts that may occur in the event of an incapacity or death. And with that, I will welcome to Chatting with the Experts, Attorney Jumoke Oladapo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. A good day to you. How are you doing today?
I am great. And I'm even happier because you said yes to being a guest on the show.
I'm super excited to be part of the show. Thank you.
Oh, I mean, what we are talking about is something that is serious, something that, as you said, every woman needs to know, because you may need it, but you may not know that you need it. I don't know which is worse.
Certainly. It's worse not to know you need it.
Right. And so the very first question I'm going to ask you is a question that I've heard other people, some of my friends say in my age group. Why do you think every woman needs estate plans sooner and not later?
Oh, thank you very much. Women are pillars in this life, in our families. And a lot of women, particularly women in the mid-age group, between 40, 65 and above, we find ourselves in a sandwiched generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're taking care of children, we're taking care of parents at the same time, and we'll leave ourselves or forget about ourselves and the fact that we need to take care of not only our families, but our assets and beyond. So, sooner than later, first of all, women live longer than men. Statistics show that 2 out of 3 women are probably going to be widowed in their lifetime.
Yep.
So, because this is likely to happen, a lot of women find themselves in a situation where their plans or this family plans, not only the spouse's plan, the family plans is not yet in place and cause a lot of hassles and mess.
Yes.
Or they have to deal with hassles and mess left by their spouses. Also, A lot of women are caregivers,
Mhm.
you know, and because we're taking care of this aging parent, if we ourselves fall ill, who is going to take care of us if we don't make these plans? We need to look at this and think a whole lot that we're not just the superheroes, but we need to do the needful for ourselves in terms of planning and protecting our assets. Another important thing, why now, not later, is that many women in this age bracket, they're already made. They have assets, they have homes, some of them retirement account and all that. And if a crisis happens to them, they're likely to go through probate. Their families, they live in a mess. So they need to take care of that which has been blessed them so that they don't find themselves in crisis or their families are not in crisis as a result of lack of planning. So there are a lot of reasons why now and not later, and I hope some of these will still touch more about that.
Thank you for expanding on that. It's better now than later because there's an adage that if you fail to plan, that means you're planning to fail.
Yeah, yes. We can't
Yeah.
leave things co sera, whatever will be, because it's
Hmm.
not like that, particularly not in the United States. If you do not plan for yourself and think the government has your back, that's not true because the government is interested more in taxes and how to take from you. So
Hmm.
it's not like the government will not take, but at least you want to plan so as to minimize unnecessary loss of your assets.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. But there's so much confusion. I mean, in the sense that not that, people, I hear this question among my friends too, the difference between a will, a living will, or even the difference between wills and trusts. Which one will protect the family better? Do you think you can talk to us about that?
Oh, yes, sure. We know that a lot of people, it's the popular legal document that has to do with estate planning is will. Am I
Hmm.
right? The short form of last will and testament. A lot of people you hear say, I need a will, I need a will, I need a will. However, many people don't know that a will does not answer a whole lot of problems that has to do with estate planning or probate. Will does not give the answer to probate. In actual fact, will takes you to probate. It's like you suing yourself because that's the legal document a probate court, or in Maryland, for example, the register will ask if a deceased person has. Why I say so is this. A will may not be sufficient to protect you and your family. It's good to have one. It could be a good starting point, but it may not be sufficient. So when you speak with an estate planning attorney, they're able to look at you, your family, your assets, your goals and ideals, and say whether your things are lined up in such a way that a will is okay or not. Maybe you need more. So, a summary, what I say is this. Everybody got a estate. If you think you don't have any, that's not true. If you have a home, you have an estate. If you have a bank account, you have an estate. If you have clothing, jewelries, you have an estate. If you have a car, you do have an estate. If you have retirement plans, life insurance policy, and all those are what the government looks at. And I'm sure every one of us got something, even if it's only a bank account with some little money in it. We got an estate. So, when do you know you need a trust versus
Yes.
just a will?
Hmm.
You need a trust. If you have young children, you need a live-in trust. And in this case, there are different types of trust, but we're going to be focusing on a revocable live-in trust. If you
Okay.
have young children, we'll probably recommend you have a live-in trust. If you have a blended family, we'll likely recommend you have a live-in trust. If you have a home, and your home is probably, a lot of homes have a lot of value. So that's the high value assets people have. You may need a live-in trust. But all these are different from families to families. So I'll say that if your assets, total assets is more than a small estate by definition of law, you may want to speak more to an attorney about which is better for you. There are a lot of dynamics in between. But if you have nothing, no, everybody got something. That's what I said.
Yes.
Everybody got something. If you don't care about going through probate court, or you don't have anything at all, or you have very minimum assets, then you may just need a will. But the definition of minimum is relative, so it's always good to speak with an attorney.
Well, thanks for clearing up that bit about estates because some people think, oh, I must have at least, a certain amount of money or a certain amount of assets, like, worth an amount that they think in their mind is worthwhile. But you said something that I think is very important. At least if you have a bank account, at least you qualify for having an estate. So start with that. And I'm sure if you look through, you start coming up with a list, you can find out that you have a lot more than you think.
Definitely, definitely, we undermine what we have, as women, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't undermine what we have at all. I have um a situation, someone, you know, she came to our office and I need a will. I was like, you need a will? Well, let's talk about it. Let's have a planning session and talk about it. And well, what do you have? And we started going through the list. She had a bank account. She had a meager life insurance policy. You
Mhm,
know, she had a home, but she had a vehicle.
mhm,
Let's even
mhm,
say she doesn't have a life insurance policy. Usually we find women that have vehicles. Am I right? They have a
mhm,
bank account. They get money. Am I right? They have
mhm,
children.
mhm.
So all these make it important to have conversations about this because God has blessed us with more than we usually, you know, appreciate that we have.
You are so right. So do not underestimate what you have. As you mentioned earlier, jewelry.
Exactly. Some of
Mhm,
us have jewelries. We have
mhm.
those costly bags. Am I
Yes,
right? The
those shoes.
Gucci, the shoes, the MK, what's it called? Michael Kors,
Mhm,
the Coach.
mhm,
A few of us have those. Am I right? We
mhm,
have
mhm.
some pieces of jewelry, silver
Jewelry.
and gold.
Mhm.
We have
So,
some expensive furs. We have
mhm.
China wares. We
Thank you.
have
Pictures,
we have pictures. We have artwork.
artwork. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for breaking that down. So once you start a list, you find out just as we are talking now, you realize that I actually have more than I think. Furniture in your house, you know, oh, so much, so much. But you mentioned something that I think is important. I mean, we live in an age where we're hearing more and more about blended families. Now,
Yeah.
let's address that, blended families and inheritance so that there's no fight between children, stepchildren, spouses, etc. That's something I think a lot of women probably avoid talking about, but needs to be addressed. That's something
Sure.
we can talk about.
Definitely, I'll touch on it. So we live in a day and age where a lot of families come together, having either children before marriage or prior marriages, and that form a unit.
Mhm,
Many people get married after being settled somewhere else and they have
mhm,
their assets before they come in. And you find out that you have stepchildren, you are step parents, am I right? Some of them have younger children that are their stepchildren. Some of them have older children. However, a lot of conflict could happen if plans are not in place. Why? And also, apart from the conflict that could happen, there could be situation where you are unintentionally disinheriting your children and giving your assets to your spouse. So I'll give an example of something that happened before. We have a stepfather married to mom, and mom has children. So the children are stepchildren to the stepdad. Am I right? Unfortunately, mom passed away. Before mom passed away, she was sick. Okay.
mhm,
She was very sick. And because the husband slash stepdad was not in good terms with the children, because of course the children had done some unacceptable things in the past, the stepdad did not allow them to see their mom. So
mhm,
there was a lot of conflict, and then there was court situation on who is going to be making decisions for the mom. Is it the husband stroke stepdad, or is it the adult child? The mom did not have any plans in place, not a power of attorney, not a will, nothing.
mhm, mhm.
So the judge had to make a decision who will be the decision maker slash power of attorney for the mom. There's so much conflict there because these are two loved ones. I'm sure the mom will be so bad seeing the husband at loggerheads with the child.
Mhm, mhm.
But at the end of the day, unfortunately, the mom passed away the same day the court hearing was.
Oh no. Oh.
And now they have a home among other assets. That had to go through probate because there was no plan in place. All right. And for those who have a plan in place, let's say there was a will, and typically the will will say, a lot of people will say, I give everything I have to my spouse. And the spouse will have a will, I give everything I have, I give everything I have to my husband, and then I give everything my husband, vice versa to
Mhm,
my wife, two different wills. Now they forgot that there was, they had children when they were giving everything to each other.
mhm.
When the will is probated, everything, including the home, which belongs to the mom, will go to the husband,
This was the stepdad
who is the stepdad.
who was at loggerhead with the mom's children, her biological children. So they're not
Exactly,
his.
exactly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so now this home that we're talking about was a home that the mom had with a prior husband who
Mhm,
is the dad to the children.
mhm,
So now, because the mom has given the everything she got to the new husband, the children don't have anything from the mom, not even including their dad's house.
Complicated.
It could be complicated. That's one example among many of complex situations that can arise as a result of being a blended family. Without a thorough plan in place, there could be so much mess happening, and that's just one of them.
And that one of them, that one example is complex enough in itself. Just thinking about it. Oh my gosh, I can see the
Okay.
strife that comes from that, happiness, bitterness, because this is their mom. And
Exactly.
all along, they've always assumed that this house would be theirs. And
Yes.
now they've lost, in quotes, everything, and they've lost their loved one, their mother.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the mom did not have a say at that point when the dad locked out the child
Oh,
before she passed away because the stepdad did not allow the child to see the mom.
oh my
And
gosh.
why is that? Because she doesn't have written directives about what she wants.
But this is where the power of attorney comes into play, right? Because there's
Yeah.
one, yeah,
Healthcare
just,
directive and power of
yes.
attorneys.
Mhm.
So basically, the power of attorney is a legal document that has to do with finances and everyday life decision making and well-being. Who is going to make decisions for you in the event that you cannot make one by yourself? Like, who is going to go to the bank? Who is going to help you with litigation? Who's going to sell your stock? Who is going to make insurance policy for you? Who is going to go to Social Security and for you and all that stuff? Who's going to go to the post office and pick up your mail? Things like that.
Yes.
You know, that's the power of attorney, the durable general power of attorney. And then we have the banks look for sometimes more specific ones. Who's going to sell your house for you? Let's say you want to sell the house. So all of those are covered by the power of attorney. And it's important, those are critical legal documents because you could go thus far, but at some point they'll be saying, where is the authority? Where is the authorization?
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
important to have that authorization. And there are a lot of ways to go about it. You don't have to make such legal document effective immediately if you're still sound, if you're still making decisions by yourself. And it could be effective only upon incapacity
Yeah.
when there is a need for it, or if there is a need for it, you know. And the healthcare directive, too, is a separate legal document, but that is
Mhm.
specific to healthcare. Who is going to make healthcare decisions for you in the event that you cannot make one by yourself? People get accidents from once in a while and they cannot, you know, function. Some of them lose their mind. Some people have strokes, and they cannot do things healthcare wise by themselves. So all these, don't let it be too late before you have that. A lot of us, we have car insurance policies. Why do we have car insurance policies? Because we're forced to have one. You
Yes.
can insure your car, but you can't insure your life, and you can't make sure that your assets are properly insured by having estate plans in place.
Such an important part of life, and it's such an important point you made that we insure our cars, we insure our homes, but we don't insure ourselves to
Exactly.
ensure that we don't have all of these complexities arise when, as you said, even, what happens if you can't speak? You're being incapacitated in a way, accident or whatever it could be, because life happens. I mean, accidents are accidents because that's exactly what it is. You don't plan on it,
You don't
but it
plan.
happens.
Yeah. These legal documents are what is going to give you the voice
Mhm.
because now your wishes have been turned into directives.
Yes, 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 yes. Whoa. You know, one thing I love is talking with my guests because it's always so interesting. I don't even know where the time goes. But there's something I want to touch on very quickly. Well, there are two things actually. Well, the quick one is that I learned, or me and my siblings learned this the hard way, where, okay, power of attorney. We didn't realize that the power of attorney only has power when the person is alive, correct?
That's true. Correct.
Did
Yes,
not ever think about that.
that's true. A lot of people are confused about that as well. I see some people that say, oh, we have power of attorney. And when the person has passed away, they'll now say, oh, I said, that power has expired, man.
Yes. How do you like, what do you mean? Yeah, power of attorney. Nope. It's only when the person is
Is
alive.
alive, you know.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And the thing is, power of attorney, it's double-edged. So we have to review all these legal documents from time to time.
Hmm.
So as I said, first of all, if you still have sound mind, have a power of attorney that is effective upon incapacity. So
Hmm.
if it's needed, you know, then it's available with two physicians authorizing, saying that yes, confirming that the person is incapacitated, then the power can become effective, you know. But for those women that are like in the senior ages and they're already needing their children to care for them and all that, I sometimes will recommend that the powers of attorney and the healthcare directive be effective immediately so that your children can help you
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
whoever is helping you can help you. You have to
Important.
choose trusted people, you know, because the same power gives the person the authority to speak with someone on your behalf. The same power gives the person the authority to help you, could be used as well to harm you.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
So,
scary though.
yes,
That's
it's
scary.
scary. It's very scary because we see a lot. It's
Hmm.
double-edged. They can use
Hmm.
that same authority to make sure that they sell your home. They can use
Hmm.
the authority to clean out your bank account. They
Hmm.
can use that same authority to help you manage your everyday expenses
Hmm.
and help you with your benefits and all that. So it's positive and negative. That's why you have to give it to trusted people. And once you don't trust them anymore, change it,
Change it.
you
Yes.
know.
Yes. Yes. Important. Important. Wow. I'm learning so much. My mantra is I learn something new every day. So, one of the things I'd like you to talk about before we wrap up and have the audience join us is about legacy planning and why it's not just the passing of money, but also values. And one thing, too, stories. We forget that, there is a wealth of knowledge in people's voices, in their memories, in the history. Talk about, our family history because sometimes the older generation die out. I'm hearing that a lot more among my peers and even my young adults are talking about that. So, Mom, how did this happen? How? And I realized there's an importance in recording your history, your verbal history, your family history. Because, it's not just sometimes so that you can know, it can even help you with your health when things arise and you wonder, where did this come from? And you're like, great grandmother had XYZ or great grand uncle did this. And you're like, okay, now I'm clear. So, can you talk a little bit about legacy planning,
Yes.
please?
So legacy is beyond money. A lot of us will remember to pass our homes, pass our bank accounts, and give those to our loved ones. However, we don't remember to capture our experiences, our
Mhm.
stories, our
Mhm.
values, our faith, our love.
Mhm.
Those are intangible assets that you
Mhm.
need to plan for as well. So we call it legacy planning. So it's
Mhm.
beyond the estate. It's now like, what are you passing to your loved ones that they cannot hold with their hands? A lot of women, they're powerful, empowered, educated, entrepreneurs. The list
Mhm.
goes on. We've attained so much, or we attained so much, and we're still attaining. And
Mhm.
we need to make sure that these things, our stories, our falls, our victories, we capture them. Video
Mhm.
form, audio form, anyway, just make sure it's recorded, you
Mhm.
know, and make that part of your planning.
Mhm. Love it.
And that's part of what we do in our office. So we don't just give them the estate planning, we record them. We call them legacy interviews, where we'll ask you stories about your upbringing, your children. Tell me one word that, about your child. If you're going to describe your child with one word, what's it going to be? What's your idea about education, money, things like that, so that the next generation and the next one and the next one can learn from us. You can
Mhm.
tell about your history. You can tell
Mhm.
about your values. Which one is more important to you, money or
Mhm.
education? You
Mhm.
don't even bother about any. Whichever one, faith. It's an important value that we have that we need to pass on
Amen.
from one generation to another.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all this, the Bible says a good, I'll say, woman leaves in an inheritance for our children's
Mhm.
children. And that's
Mhm.
part of legacy. So it's important that we have all this captured, not
Mhm.
just the physical as assets, but also the intangible ones.
Love it. Whoa, I could talk with you forever. And I'm sure, as I said earlier on, our audience has tons of questions for you because this is a topic that is long overdue. We need to talk about these things. Culturally, is a topic sometimes that people will say taboo. Why will you be
Oh,
talking about this?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
forget about it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But
There's
it's
certain
needed.
myths, there are a lot of myths around estate planning from what you
Mhm.
said. Some people think that when you have a plan in place, a estate plan, that means the next day you're going to pass away.
Mhm.
No. Some people think you have to be rich in order to have a plan in place. No, it's not for the wealthy. It's not for the old. Some people think you have to be old and retired before you need to have a
Mhm.
plan in place. No.
Mhm.
Once
Mhm.
you have an asset. You have
Mhm.
children, then it's time to plan. So I'll say if you're 30 years old and above, have an estate plan. You don't even have to have
Love it.
children because you have something. So all this and much more, it's important. Yeah, it's important. It shouldn't be a taboo. We need to go past that.
We need to go back past that. So we know that there are people in the audience who want to ask you questions, but for those who are listening online later on YouTube, on the audio version on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or even YouTube has podcasts these days, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, thank you. Would love to hear from our audience some more. You can reach us at office phone number. Our office is the IvyLaw office, and our phone number is 301-276-0887. On our website, www.ivylawoffice.com. On Facebook, IvyLaw Updates. We're on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. And we just try to be current and everywhere. Yes.
I love it. I love it. And for those of you who have heard Attorney Jumoke, she's a guest on my show, so can you be. So if you want to be a guest and you're a woman, or even though we have a few men, please reach out to me on my website, which is chattingwiththeexperts.com. I am also on LinkedIn as Paula Kone, I'm on IG. My handle there is at chat_experts_podcast. On Facebook, look for Paula Okone. And we have a YouTube channel, Chatting with the Experts. Subscribe to us there. And every week you would hear a very inspiring, educational, informative episode from these accomplished women. Thank you again. And now we're going to open up the floor to our audience to ask all questions that I forgot to ask or wanted to ask and then just have the time. Thank you for saying yes, Attorney Jumoke, to being a guest on Chatting with the Experts.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this session.